We search the world over for treasures without realizing that our biggest gold mine lies right within. This is the ability to think. It is our biggest asset, if only we know how to manifest its fullest potential. Banks may fail, economies may regress, share markets may crash, but the treasure chest of thoughts will never bottom out. No matter how dire the circumstances, we can always tap it for remedies and solutions, ideas, strategies, and schemes. And the best part is that this gold mine lies right between our ears. If thinking is such a powerful asset, then why is it that there are so few thought leaders, visionaries, and creative writers? One of the biggest thinkers in the Western world in modern times, Albert Einstein, answered it perfectly. He said, "Thinking is hard work. That is why so few people engage in it." If anybody told you that thinking is easy, don't believe them. They feel so because they are reactive thinkers. Thoughts arise within as a result of stimuli from the environment. But when it comes to intentional, reflective, and creative thinking, it requires training, labor, and dedication. So let's strive to be better thinkers. How? First, pause to think. People say experience is the best teacher, but this is not an accurate statement. We can only learn from experience when we stop to reflect upon it. That is why evaluated experience is the best teacher. The problem is that we get so caught up in our daily chores that we have hardly any time for deep reflective thought, which we put on the back seat. But as the scriptures say, aviveka param apadam padam. The wise Chanakya Pandit said, if you act without thinking, you can invite calamity. That is why build pockets of time in your daily schedule where you sit back and think. Before rushing into that important meeting, take a break for 10 minutes and ponder on the reason for the meeting, the strategies to use, the intention with which you wish to go into it. It's just a more effective and better way of doing things. Secondly, go beyond popular thinking. Mass thinking is easy. It's what the goats do. I remember a joke from my childhood. There were 10 goats grazing on the left side of a railway line. 5 goats crossed over to the right side. How many remained on the left side? Well, 10 minus 5 is equal to 5? No. When 5 crossed over, all the others followed suit and none remained. That is how the goats behave. The goat behind puts his nose on the tail of the goat ahead. You always see them in herds. You rarely see a goat alone, and if it is, it starts bleating in fear and anxiety. When it comes to thinking, we behave very much like goats. Let me read about it to you from my latest book, The Power of Thoughts. We have no qualms about adopting others' thoughts because it saves us from mental exertion of thinking for ourselves. If we were requested to wear our neighbor's undergarments, how outraged we would be. But we do not hesitate to blindly wear in our head the ideas and perspectives of others. This paradigm of popular thinking prevents us from mining the treasure chest of our own thought processes. Most people adopt majority thinking because it seems more secure. A story is told of the British Parliament House of Commons. There was a stairway going into the hall, and one employee would be standing by the side of the stairs. This tradition continued for 70 years. Nobody questioned why the employee was stationed there, until someone got to the bottom of it and came to know that 70 years ago, the railing had been painted, and at that time an employee was stationed there to caution people not to touch it. Now the paint dried up, but that position still continued. This is the trap of popular thinking. Unlike these parliamentarians was Copernicus. The popular notion in his times in the Western world was that the sun revolved around the earth. But Copernicus decided to go beyond, and he proved through mathematics and physics that it was the earth revolving around the sun. After Copernicus came Galileo. He also did not limit himself to popular thinking. 2000 years before him, Aristotle had said that heavier objects would fall faster to the earth than lighter ones. Now, that was obviously incorrect. But 2 millennia went by, and no one challenged Aristotle's views until Galileo came along. He took the scholars in Italy to the Leaning Tower of Pisa. He climbed up the tower and threw one heavy object and one light object. They both reached the ground at the same time. And yet, the scholars, having seen it with their eyes, refused to believe. They said, no, the popular notion propounded by Aristotle cannot be wrong. Fortunately for science, Copernicus and Galileo did not limit themselves to the popular thought. Galileo went on to confirm Copernicus's heliocentric theory. So, there is Bahumat and Shrestmat. Bahumat is the popular opinion. Shrestmat is the superior opinion. Let us go beyond the trap of popular opinion and not start getting limited to the notion everybody thinks it to be so, hence it must be right. Today we have discussed a few methodologies for unleashing the power of thought. We have now reached that point in this 21-day series where we are now on the springboard for moving ahead with very powerful thinking techniques. Do stay with me as we continue this journey of power of thoughts.